Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming at you from Wellington, New Zealand. I hope everybody's doing well. Thought today what I'd talk about is right hand stuff. Haven't really discussed much of this, mostly because, it's like there's a lot of things that are easier to talk about what happens with this hand in terms of, notes and all that kind of stuff. But the longer I play, the more I pay attention to what's going on with the right hand. Because there's a lot of stuff that influences sound and touch and all those things that come from that hand. So a couple of things I'll talk about. I've been thinking about a lot. Do you close your hand or keep your hand open? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of players play, you don't necessarily want to rest, but I've seen a lot of players play with their hands open. Rob Harris plays like that. Corey Wong, people like that, rhythm guitar, really great rhythm guitar players. And then I was watching Rick Graham play the shredder rock guitar player, and he was picking incredibly fast with his hands slightly open. So I'm thinking there could be something in that, but should you do that? I've always held the pick kind of like that, not like that, whichever. So I thought, what I talk about is like primarily what's going on with this hand. So muting, let's start with muting. There's a lot of muting that happens with this hand, but I'll get into that another day. But I thought what I talk about is the right hand muting stuff that goes on. So if I'm palm muting, I'm using that palm of my hand there just to stop the string a little bit. Now this is a no open, no palm muting. Now palm muted. And there's a fine line, right? I've got no palm muting, a little, too much. And you hear where you want enough that the note will ring, but it's not, and it's not. Palm muting's awesome. I really like it. It's not just like your chugga metal type stuff, It's not just that sort of stuff. Like, it's very, very good for funk music. And the way I kind of do palm muting is I never kind of use any one thing. So you'll see that riff I played at the beginning, I had a palm mute on the bottom string between an A and a G, and then I let the chord open on the top. And I think that's the best way to kind of operate with it. You get some really cool sounds out of it. So to me, it's like I'm muting some and not others. So it takes a lot of control with this hand. And all I've done is I've just practiced that. So now I don't even have to think about it. I want this hand out of the way when I play. I want to be focusing in on the notes. And even then, I don't even want to really be focusing in on them, right? To me, the key thing I want to be focusing in on is the people that I'm playing for and the people I'm playing with. Right? I want to focus in on what the energy they're giving out so I can give it back, right? And that's about, exploring emotion, music, and all those sort of things. And also the people I'm playing with, I want to engage with what they're doing. I want to be thinking about my right hand. But when I practice, totally, right? So palm muting is one that I do with the right hand a lot, right? The other thing I do a lot with my right hand is I change where I play. If I play here, and I play here, to me, they sound totally different. And then everywhere in between, right? And I vary that to kind of vary colour. That sort of SCO type thing. Jimmy James too, if you haven't checked out that dude, he does a lot of that sort of stuff. I love Jimmy James's playing. I think he's fantastic. He plays down here a lot. I think that's an interesting kind of thing. You get a different sound. It's brighter, but it's not kind of it's not a world away from the sound that you have when you play down here. So I like to vary that with my right hand, right? I also, the other thing I do is I go between pick and fingers sometimes. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. Sometimes I take my pick and I put it in there, and that allows me to have all this free. So you see my pick's actually sitting in that finger gap right there being held, and then I've got this movement. And then if I want to go back to my pick, I just slide it out like that. You can see how quickly I can do it. Sometimes I put it there. It sort of depends how much time I've got and how much movement I want to have in my hand. But I like going between the two. I don't really hybrid pick. I'm not like James Avani or someone like that, you know, that's like got that really down. It would make a lot of times it makes a lot of sense. Andre Neri is another one, really great rock guitar player who does a lot of hybrid picking, you know, where you use the pick on maybe one strings and fingers on the other. To me, it's always felt unnatural. And I know it's something that I could work on and I'd get better at it, but I just haven't. One day I will. In that one day that probably is never going to come, but who knows. It's just time in the day, right? To sort of develop new techniques like that. Takes a lot of time. But there's benefits in it, right? But I don't really hybrid pick, but I do go between fingers and pick quite a bit. I think fingers sound soft. It's an interesting thing. I used to comp with my fingers all the time. So I'd do stuff like... and then I'd play the pick with my solos, and the idea being that that's the way I made my comping quieter and my solos louder, was going between the fingers and the pick. And I remember talking to my friend Bruce Foreman about it, really great jazz guitar player, and Bruce said, why do you comp with your fingers? He goes, why don't you comp with your pick? And I sort of thought about it, like, yeah, like, if you're thinking about what the point of comping is, it's rhythm, isn't it? And it's more percussive when you use a pick. Now, I could set up a different sound that was brighter to make my thumb sound more percussive, but if I'm going for my general kind of sound... And so I had a gig that night, and after Bruce said that, and I remember sort of experimenting with it. I was playing it was a jazz gig, and I remember the drummer, great Scottish guy here, John Ray, and I was playing with John, and I remember like going from comping with my fingers to comping with my pick. And as soon as I comped with my pick, he started responding more. And I figured what it was is he's listening for the attack, right? If you think about it, it's not the sustain. They're listening to he's listening for that initial thing. And then what I found was with the pick, he responded more. It's more percussive, right? Essentially, it's like percussion. You're playing with you're hitting a string with it. So when I use fingers, is when I want a softer sound, or to me it's a textural choice. Rather than, like I said, I used to comp that way to try and make it quieter. If I want quieter, I'll turn my volume down. Or, alternatively, just play softer, right? And there's a lot of control that comes from the right hand by that. And I actually work on those kind of dynamics. I'll do things like, let's get an appropriate volume. And I work on being able to play everything quiet and loud and soft, and then all kinds of degrees in the middle, because I want control of the pick. That's one of the key things. It's just control over this thing. This is what I used. They're basically Dunlop 1.14s. I just had some made for me. They work. So I hope that's given you something to think about. Right hand is like such a valuable thing to work on, because it's going to improve your playing in all kinds of ways. And it's definitely coming from the wrist. It's this motion, not this motion. So thanks so much for watching. If you haven't got my album Reamped, grab a copy. It's linked below. It's free. If you want to, there, or pay whatever you want. Buy Me a Coffee is set up now and running. So thank you so much for watching. That's the most important thing. And I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.